Welcome back, bienvenue, and in this video, very simply, we're going to go through the exact ways you can make sure that your French pronunciation, accent, speaking is on point, it's perfect. There's a way to do it and it's not that hard. So first thing, very bad advice that I see lots of French tutors and teachers handing out, which is start speaking French right away. I believe that this is counterproductive for your French accent and pronunciation. I'll explain why. When I learned French, this is what I did. In the first 3 to 6 months, I reckon around month 4 or 5, I did not speak French. I would have said a few words sometimes, maybe once a day said 1 or 2 words just for fun, just to play around. However, I did not tell myself, okay, I need to practice speaking French and practicing my pronunciation. I didn't do it. What I did instead was I focused on getting in lots of good input that I understood, and through this I would be doing reading, listening at the same time. So I'd have a French chapter, okay, conversation, so it's a conversation at a cafe, a bar, between mother and daughter, and it's a fun conversation. I've got the translation to English as well on the other side of the page, and I'd go through, I'd put my earphones in, listen to the French as I go through the reading of the French. And then once I've gone through the whole thing, I'd look to the English side and then I'd translate back to the French and back and forth, joining the two languages. What I'm doing there is I'm getting in lots of good French where I'm getting the perfect accent through my ears, pronunciation perfect through my ears from French native speakers, and then I'm reading at the same time. So now my brain is able to see words and phrases and connect the pronunciation with the spelling and the wording. The thing is, I like to learn French in the most efficient way possible. And I take the simplicity and I make sure that it is in there as much as possible also. So for me, if I can do something 2 times as efficient, I'm going to do it. That's why with my students learning French, I make sure that, hey, I say to them, I pull them aside and I go, hey, this is the thing. There's lots of people that will say, French tutors particularly, they'll say, hey, go and read French. Okay. And then they'll say, oh, go and listen to French. Okay. Well, I say, why not combine the two? Double the input. So reading the French, listening to the French. The speaking and the accent will come naturally. It comes naturally because after 4 or 5 months of doing this, how many days is that? 30 by 40, 120, 30 by 5 months, 150 days. 150 days of repetitive input of the reading and the listening at the same time. Come on. Your brain is going to know the pronunciation once you've done it that many times. If you're doing daily study of 30 minutes to 60 minutes, 30 minutes to 1 hour, even a little bit under that on some days, that's okay. But if it's the average every day for 120 to 150 days, you are going to know how the phrases and how the French words are pronounced with the correct accent without the audio. If you do that for this amount of days, you take your audio out and then you read that phrase after you just listen to it, try and speak the French. You will notice how good it is. Simply because you're just repeating what you've heard for 120, 150 days. It's not rocket science. I see lots of people really complicate learning French and they complicate getting the accent perfect. Me personally, I never went onto a site or onto a pronunciation tool and went, okay, when it's an E with the accent like that, it's when it's an O, it's all this stuff. It's like, I don't care about that. I just learn phrases. I learn words, I learn sentences, I learn stories, and I let my brain do the rest because humans are extremely intelligent. We're very smart and we're able to adapt when we apply the right learning method. Now, the right learning method for me and for my students is 100% conversations, stories, learning through phrases, not grammar, learning through real life French, not language apps like Duolingo or Babbel, okay? Because for us, we want to make sure that the French we're learning, and me, I continue to learn as well. I'm fluent, but I continue to learn French every day. Even just through helping you guys here and having a look online, seeing what other people are doing on my Instagram page as well, checking out what people are doing with their French learning methods. I continue to learn. And the thing is, with your French speaking, don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you put in the right learning method for 4 or 5 months, even if you've had previous experience of trying to learn French but not achieving your goals, not knowing what you're doing and not getting the results you want, that's fine. You can always recover and you can always build good habits of previously bad habits. It's just a matter of time. And yeah, it might take a little bit longer. However, if you've built bad habits with French, well, you've got a French level that's above people that haven't even started yet. So arguably you can get to your goals even faster than those people. right? And if you haven't started before, well, we can get you going right away with the new learning method, and you won't have all of that previous bad experience, which sometimes for lots of people, not most people, but I think lots of people, if they've had a bad experience previously trying to learn French or another foreign language, it can be a blockage, it could be a mental blockage for them that they need to break through. And it's something that I personally experienced because I tried to learn Italian and Japanese in high school and I failed. So that was back when I was 13, 14, 15, and I completely failed because the learning method was bad and all the teachers were terrible as well. That's a very common story. So I'm nothing special there, it's very common and it's something you see a lot. For me, I had to break through that. So that's why me personally, I decided to learn French because Italian interests me 100%, just like maybe some of you as well. However, I had that mental blockage of thinking, oh, I've got bad experience with Italian, learning it's going to be harder. But now I wanted to prove to myself, okay, I can learn French, I can learn a foreign language. I did, and now I know I could go and learn any language in the world. That's a skill I want you to develop as well. That's the end of the video, very short one today. And comment down below if you've got any questions. I'm on Instagram as well, so you can go over there, check out my content. And if you're interested in learning French with me, no worries, check out my content, go through. You'll see my style. If you don't like it, no worries. And I wish you all the best.